Right, here we go. Let's see. This way. My microphone. Hey everybody, welcome to the Redesign with Prima Facebook group. My name is Cece and my business is called CeCe ReStyled. I'm a furniture artist and today we're working on a little tiny piece of furniture, a little vintage jewelry box here. Doesn't it look like a little dresser? I love these. They look like little furnitures. They're my favorite. Anyways, today we are going to be using a few different Redesign with Prima products to jazz this puppy up. So we can go ahead and get started. If you're hopping on, say hello. Let me know what you're up to today, where you're tuning in from, you know, all those fun things. So I'm going to go ahead and tilt you down here so you can see my jewelry box here. So I have already prepped and painted my box. I sanded it. I gave it a good scuff sand by hand, and then I painted it these lovely spring green colors. And I took it apart. I'm kind of just placing it back together for the transfers and things that we're going to be using, but I'm not going to put it completely back together until I seal it. So we're going to be adding some transfers, and we're going to be doing some gold leafing with a stick and style stencil roll. And we are going to be applying all that to the raw paint. So my process was prep, paint, gold leaf, transfer, and then I'll seal. Okay, so I gotta set my timer real quick because I am not gonna drag on and bore you to death for an hour today. Okay, so I love these boxes. They're so cute. Look at the little drawers, the little drawers. They just come out. It's like a little dresser, and then it opens up just like that with the mirror. So cute. Okay, so like I said, already painted, dried overnight. It is recommended to let your paint dry overnight before transferring, but I'm going to be honest, I transfer when my paint is dry to the touch, and knock on wood, I've never had any problems. So that's my advice to you, but not official. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside for just a second. So on our bare paint, you know, right onto our paint, we're going to be using a stick and style stencil roll. Okay, so these are... There's a couple different versions of the stick and style. This is the older version, comes in 15 yards, right? 15-yard rolls. This sucker will take me like 8 months to get through, and I paint furniture constantly. So if you are a hobbyist or not constantly painting furniture every single day, you could have one of these rolls for like years. They last forever. But this style is Calypso Lattice. It's about 4 inches wide. The newer stick and style stencil rolls, you'll know they're different because they're about 6 inches wide, and they're like this greenish color. And they come in a variety of different designs as well. But we're going to be using the older Calypso Lattice. So see that? See the pattern? That's the pattern we're going to be using. I've also got a little bit of gilding adhesive. Okay, I'm just using craft store brand. I got it at Michael's, gilding adhesive. TBH, you can use spray adhesive. You can use Mod Podge. Anything that dries to a tack, or, you know, will dry to a tack and will grab onto your gold leaf, you can use. I've used just about everything. Hey everyone, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. We're going to do some quick little upgrades on this jewelry box I got here. And Redesign with Prima does carry some gold foil that you can use for the same process, but I personally prefer to use gold leaf just because I think it sticks a little bit easier, and it comes in this variegated pattern, which I'm super partial to. So we're not using foil today. We're going to use gold leaf. I got this on Amazon. This is variegated gold leaf, you guys. So yeah, you've all seen gold leaf, silver leaf, copper leaf. This is variegated. Isn't that cool? It's almost like printed like an oil slick kind of oily look. Is that sweet or what? So that's what we're going to be using on our green. See that copper and the green, I think, really look nice together. And then we are going to be adding some transfers. So I'm going to be using, on my jewelry boxes, a lot of times I like to add a little emblem kind of to the top middle. It gives you a good focal point. And also, I just love these little classic vintage labels, decor transfers, because they're the perfect size for little smalls like jewelry boxes, pots, planters, vases, things like that. And then we're going to be using sunflower fields. And sunflower fields is a very large, the sunflowers in this transfer are very large. And we got a little teeny tiny jewelry box here. So I'm going to show you how to use really big old flowers on a little old box. Because I have a painted jewelry box group, and I see people ask often, where can I get transfers small enough to use on jewelry boxes? And the answer is, you can use any transfer. You're just going to have to do a little bit of manipulation and editing, okay? So we're going to go ahead and get started. I will turn my little JB here right towards you. And I'm just going to dig in with my Stick and Style stencil roll. Let's see, where'd he go? Which way did he go, George? There he is. Okay, my Stick and Style stencil roll. So these are amazing. These are like the greatest things since sliced bread, in my opinion, because if you are familiar with the process of trying to stencil, or you've been frustrated before, because stenciling, to be honest, it's kind of tricky. Because a lot of times you lay down your stencil, you blob on your paint, and you peel up your stencil, and you get all these, like, you know, fuzzy edges and paints, you know, seeping under the edges that you don't want, and all of these not crisp, clean edges. That's kind of boo, you know, nobody wants to do that, because then you got to start over, sand it off, start over, paint over it, whatever. These Stick and Styles are exactly what they sound like. They stick, they're adhesive. Okay, so if you prep well enough, they're not so adhesive that they're going to pull up your paint, but they are adhesive enough to hold it in place and prevent as much of that paint from seeping underneath your stencil as possible. And you can use a brush, but I also like to use a little foam roller, the little kind from the craft store. Usually they're disposable, they're like 4 inches, and I use those with these perfectly. We're not using paint today, but that's just a tip for you for stenciling and getting nice, clean, crisp lines. These are both reusable and disposable, so I'm going to cut off this piece here, and we can use it for probably, you know, we could use it for all sides of our jewelry box and then throw it away if we wanted to, or keep it if we wanted to. I am not call me wasteful, but I just throw them away after I'm done. But you can, however, save them and reuse them on other projects until they're no longer sticky. So that's a thing. Yes, you can. If you are into saving, you know, the earth and money and all that stuff, it's a good thing. So I'm just going to take my stencil. This is Calypso Lattice, and I'm going to place it. I think I kind of want to go right down the middle. Nah, let's line it up with the very back edge of our JB here. I'm going to line it up with the back edge and just kind of rub it on. And I have my top placed, you know, it's in place. It's not screwed on or hinged on. The hinges are not replaced on here yet, but, you know, I want my cohesive look on the top, right? So, let's see. Let me think for a second. You know what? I changed my mind. I changed my mind because that happens sometimes. I want to go this way with it. Let's go this way with it on both sides, okay? That way we have room for our classic label right in the middle. Let's go this way on both sides. See how I just peeled that right back up and it's still sticking? It didn't ruin it. Still sticky. Still going. Like the Energizer Bunny, it's still going and going and going and going and going. Okay, so I'm just going to rub it on, make sure it's on there really well. And let's see. Let's do some right across the front draws there. I think that'd be cool. That bottom draw maybe. Let's do that. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, no, we'll just go like this. Actually, you know, I'm going to take this drawer out. Why not? Why not? Now we're cooking with fire. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to read them while I explain and demo this stuff, but I might miss a couple, but if I do, I'll try to go back and answer them, or maybe if Roz is on here, she can assist. But all these products should be available from your Redesign with Prima retailer or on Etsy, except for the gold leaf. I got that on Amazon. You just search variegated gold leaf or gold leaf and it'll come up. All right, so that's my bottom draw, and I think that's all we're going to do. I don't want to get carried away with my bling bling, you know. I'm extra, but there's a stopping point. Okay, so that's on there really well. Now, we're going to, let's see. we're going to take our adhesive. Okay, I got gilding adhesive. You can use whatever adhesive as long as it will dry to a tack. I prefer spray adhesive, Aleene's Tacky or Elmer's, but I didn't want to spray all over the place. This is a small box, so we're just going to get a little bit of our adhesive onto our, I'm using a cheapy chip brush, and you don't want to use too much adhesive because it'll take way too long to dry, and we're not trying to wait too long because we're impatient and we only have so long on a live video. So I'm just going to kind of sparingly brush my adhesive onto the front of my JB over the stencil, okay? And I, to be honest, I kind of just slap it on there, and I don't usually like try to sit there and make sure I have every little hole perfectly filled in or covered with adhesive, because I find that when you just kind of do it, you know, randomly, it looks a lot more natural because you don't have hard edges on your leafing or your paint or whatever. I like a more kind of aged, naturally placed look. So I'm going to brush on my adhesive to the little spots where I want it on my tops here. I think I'm going to try to stick to doing it in like these corners, the back corners, like these little L shapes here. You can do the whole thing if you want. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing for this piece. So we're still just sparingly putting on a little bit of our adhesive here. Okay, and we're going to let that dry for just a couple minutes. While we let that dry to a tack, okay, you don't want to let it dry till it's not sticky anymore. You don't want to try to put your leaf on while your adhesive is wet. You got a little sweet spot in there where it's dried to a tack, where if you touch it, it's sticky, but it's not dry and it's not wet. It doesn't come off on your finger. So that'll only take a couple of minutes. So while we wait for that to dry to a tack, I'm going to go ahead and pick out my Vintage Classic label that I want to put in the middle of my JB here. So Vintage Classic Labels is this decor transfer, and it's got all these surprise, surprise, Vintage Classic labels, and they're all so cool. Some have text, some have a little bit of imagery, and they're perfect for smalls. I've had this, I think this is actually 2 transfers rolled into one, but I've had it for so long because it seems to last forever. And it's good for my classes too, because in my workshops we create smalls, and these go a long way. So I saw one with a bee, and I'm hoping I find that one. I saw a label that had a bee in the center. Ooh, I don't know. That butterfly might work too with my sunflowers. Let's see. Let's look for the bee real quick. If we don't find the bee, we're going to go with the butterfly. Oh, I found the bee. Woo! It's my lucky day. I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket. Yeah. Okay. Well, those are going on the floor. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out my bee little graphic there and make sure I get the backing paper with it. Okay, so that's Vintage Classic Labels, you guys. And I'm going to make sure he fits real quick. And he does. It's like fate. It's like it was meant to happen. Okay, so on my transfer, I'm just going to peel away the backing paper gently, make sure that my transfer is sticking to the clear side of the transfer material, the acetate sheet if you want to get technical about it. And I'm going to just kind of line them up on the center here. You can get out your measuring tape and all that if you want to get real perfect about it. But I like to eyeball it because I'm a little bit crazy and I like to live life on the edge, so I just eyeball it. So your transfers come with a little wooden stick, like a popsicle stick that you can use to rub on, but I'm going to use my fancy schmancy transfer tool here, which it's, I don't know, maybe $10, $8, something like that from your Redesign retailer, and I'm just going to rub it on. I like it because it's got bigger, surface area, coverage with these ends than the popsicle stick, but for all intents and purposes, the popsicle stick that comes with it will work just fine to apply your transfer. And we're just going to rub it on, give it just a little bit of elbow grease. And again, if you're just hopping on, I am doing this on to my dried paint. So prep, paint, transfer, seal. That's the order. You can seal before you transfer it, but there's really no need for that extra step. It's just kind of a waste of product and time there's just no need for it. All right, so let's see if we got our graphic on there good. I'm going to start to peel up from one corner fairly slowly. In case I missed any spots, I just lay this back down and go over it again. Looks like it's sticking pretty good. I'm in my workshop, my home workshop, which is downstairs, and it's pretty cool. Or cool as in like, I mean, it's cool, but it's cool atmosphere. It's a basement, so it's not hot, not muggy, not sticky. Transfers do not like muggy, sticky, warm, hot weather. They will not transfer. It was raining here last week, and I had a gigantic china cabinet I was trying to transfer outside in the muggy heat, and it would not transfer for the life of me, so I had to bring it inside. Now it's taking up my whole entryway, but that's another story. But look, it goes on perfectly in a nice, cool climate, okay? So, all right, so by now our adhesive is dried to a tack. So it's tacky, you guys, it's tacky. You want it to be tacky. This is the instance where being tacky is a good thing. All right, so we're gonna grab a sheet of our gold leaf, and I've got another chip brush here. This is not, wait, no, that's the one I used for, I got another chip brush here, not the one I used for the adhesive, just a clean, dry one. And you can use any sort of brush that is fairly stiff. You want it to be fairly stiff to brush away your excess gold leaf. But I'm going to start with sheet number 1, very gently, because this stuff is very fragile, okay? Must be Italian. So we're going to go ahead and throw it on there. And I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to kind of pat it on. So the reason I'm doing it over the stencil is because I want some nice crisp edges. I've done it before where I removed the stencil and just tried to apply it to the adhesive, and that did not go so great. So I'm trying to not have any boo-boos here. So we'll take our extra gold leaf and move it over there. Then we'll just take this little piece and we'll put it right there. And let's see. I'm just going to take my little extras here and kind of place them over here on this part that doesn't have any. I'm not going to get another sheet and do it right there because, remember, like I said, I don't want to fill in the whole thing perfectly. I want it to look a little bit natural. What I like to do is I like to take the stiff edge and I go against the hard lines. So I don't like to have hard lines on my gold leafing because it looks like you just plopped a sheet of gold leafing on there. So I like to kind of have nice organic edges. Okay, so once you got that on there, okay, see, on there, then we can just go and peel it away and cross our fingers and hope that it worked. And it sure enough did. It did. So that is our, I'm going to take this and brush away any of the excess, okay? And look how pretty that variegated gold leaf is. Do you see the variations in colors on that leafing? The like patterns, it's kind of like the pinks and the oranges and the, oh, so beautiful. Yes, so this is not official advice, but I've used just about every adhesive I could for gold leafing, as long as it's, you know, water-based and archival. So Aleene's tacky, Elmer's, anything that's an archival adhesive, and it's not going to, like, you know, smudge or, you know, not going to not last. Does that make sense? So I like to use Elmer's spray. Actually, that's my favorite, but I'm out of it, and this is a small piece. I didn't want a whole lot of overspray, so we just used gilding wax from Michael's, or gilding adhesive from Michael's. So I got fancy and I got real gilding adhesive, but a secret little tip, you can use any kind of adhesive, okay? Again, that's my experience. It's not an official advice. All right, so we're getting our next piece of gold leaf, and we're going to plop it on there, and we're just going to kind of, like, you know, put it all over our little corners here. Remember I said I wanted to kind of try to stick to a L shape in the back here, in the back corners, somewhat of an L shape for our gold leaf, but it's not a perfect L shape, and in fact, the more perfect shape you try to make it, the more kind of contrived or forced your leafing feels. So I find that if you think about it, the least, and kind of almost like the sloppier you are, the more natural it looks. I don't know if that makes sense. Don't think about it too much. Just slap it on there, burnish it with your brush. Burnish just means to rub in. And we'll get another little halvesy of a sheet. If you're just hopping on, the gold leaf is from Amazon, but everything else, the Stick and Style stencil we're using is Redesign with Prima Stick and Style stencil roll in Calypso lattice. Okay, come on. Come on. Okay, so we got a little bit more here. And just gonna get that on there. Get it on there real nice and good. And I love variegated gold leaf. It's amazing. I think I like it so much just because you see gold leaf and silver leaf all the time, but you don't really see variegated very often, which just means it has varying colors and that pattern. And I think that's why I like it so much, because you don't see it. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it besides me. I mean, people have used it besides me. I'm just saying I haven't seen any pieces with it on it. I like things I don't see often. I am, attracted to things that I don't see very often. So, okay, so there is our gold leaf over our Stick and Style. My OCD is really kind of on fire right now. When I'm not on camera, I have my shop vac and I follow it around with, I follow my gold leaf around with the shop vac so that I can avoid all these little tiny flakes everywhere, because it drives me absolutely bonkers, but that's a part of it. All right, so now we're gonna remove our boom, boom, boom. Give it a little brush to get all those excess flakes off. And there we go. So I'll show you that's our tops with the gold leaf. I'll see if I can try to turn it into the light so you can see the, we lost a draw. Man down. We lost 2 draws. No, just 1. All right, let me pick that up real quick. Hopefully I didn't scratch it, because like I said, I haven't sealed this piece yet. Oh, we're good. We're good. We are good. Okay, no harm, no foul. Boom. Okay, so now we get to move on to the transfers. I'm going to use this big old sunflower transfer on this little jewelry box, which is cool. We're just going to have to do a little bit of cutting and chopping. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and place this back in the front because I want to see a whole piece together so I can see what it's going to look like as a whole, if that makes sense. Sorry, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, so it just rang. It probably screwed up everything, but hopefully you're still there. I'm still here. I'm still here. Okay, so, okay, so that's what it looks like as a whole so far. Now, there's our sunflower stencil, our decor transfer, I'm sorry. I thought that would look really pretty with the greens, and I'm just feeling the different, greens and yellows and oranges and stuff and purples today. I get my jewelry boxes from either Goodwill or eBay if I'm feeling like I want to find a really nice one that I can get. If I find a really nice one for a decent price on eBay that I can get my money's worth out of, I will go the eBay route. But Goodwill has a plethora of jewelry boxes. Every time I go, I find like 4 or 5 for the most part. But you do want to check and make sure the lining is intact and not all stained and gross, unless you're into replacing that, which is a thing. But if you're not into replacing it, you just want to check. Most of them are pretty ratty, but I've been lucky enough that I find the jewelry boxes with very, very decent insides. I got a little paint on this one, but other than that, that's clean. So I've been lucky in that arena. But yeah, you just want to make sure you check out the felt lining. I painted felt lining the other day for the first time, and it turned out way better than I ever would have imagined. So that's a thing. You can reline it as well, which is a lot more work. But if you're commanding a price that warrants relining it completely, then, do you, boo. So here is the beautiful colors of the Sunflower Fields transfer. Look how good those periwinkle type flowers go with the yellows and the golds of the sunflowers. So this is a pretty big transfer. These flowers are pretty big, like they're about the size of my hand for the most part. So what we're going to do is chop them and place them. You can see that one I already chopped up at some point in time on another project. We're going to chop them up and place them so that we can put these big old transfers on this itty bitty jewelry box. Let's see. I don't know if I missed any questions. I'm trying to catch questions, but I'm sorry if I don't. I'll try to go back and grab them later. We're going to start with this piece already chopped up here, since it's already kind of ready to go. Waste not, want not. So I always keep these. And let's see. Let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and start by cutting out this yellow flower here. So the key to using big old flowers on a little old jewelry box is when you're cutting them, you know, you can only use parts. You know, yes, I could take a big old sunflower and plop it on the middle of this. I'm not going to do that because I don't think that looks the best I can possibly make it. So what I do is I cut them down, and with a good chunk of the flower still intact, you can, you know, create the illusion of, you know, a nice full flower, you know, by layering them and adding parts of flowers. So I don't need to put a big old flower right smack dab in the middle of my piece. So I think I want this one to come over here and unlap. Can you see that? I think I want this one to come over here and overlap my bee wreath just a tad. I love overlapping. It always looks so good to me. But just a tad. I don't want to cover up my bee. I was really dead set on having that bee, so I'm not going to cover him up. So I'm going to go ahead and here's what I'm going to do on the side. Now there's a variety of ways you can mark where you're going to cut this off. So I could cut it off right where the top ends. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it down underneath. That's what I'm going to do on this particular instance. So what I'm going to do is I'm wrapping it underneath, and I'm taking my fingernail and I'm kind of scoring where I want to cut it. Okay? So you can take a marker or a pen or whatever and do the same thing. I'm just using my fingernail because I'm lazy. So where I scored it is where I'm going to cut my edge. Okay? So there. Now I have my edge. I'm going to line it up, make sure everything looks good. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and peel off my backing paper for our first piece of transfer here. And I'm going to go ahead and start to line it up. I'm going to go ahead and line it up over here first because I want to make sure that I have room to wrap it underneath. And looks like I do. I want to line it up on this back edge here because that's important. Impotent to have it lined up. If you don't, you know, it's not going to look as good. All right, so I'm committing to my spot. I'm committing to it being right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my little handy dandy transfer tool. See these little hooky jobs on the end? Can you see that? The little hooks. Okay, those are perfect for the little bevels on the edges of drawers, lids, rims, anything like that. So hopefully you can see I'm just using my little hook here to kind of go around the bevels in my lid, and it's working perfectly with my little transfer tool. I'm wrapping it underneath, and I am going to just rub that on underneath. And then I'm going to continue to just rub on the rest of my transfer over top here. And, oh shoot, I forgot a knife. I need to grab a knife. You see where, okay, so see where my lid here, it hinges and you lift up the lid? I went right over this seam here, okay, with my transfer. And before I peel away my backing paper, so if you're going over a drawer or a door or anything hinged, I apply my transfer whole, just like we did here. And before I peel away my backing paper, I'm going to take a sharp knife. Sharp is the key word. And I want to cut that seam, okay, before I take off my transfer paper. Because if you do it after, the transfer is so delicate when you try to cut it, it just kind of drags and wrinkles. So let me grab my knife right quick. If I have one handy. Oh, look at that. I have one right here. Huh. So my sharp knife, and gently so you don't cut your paint job, I'm just going to score or cut right down my seam. Very gentle like. Gentle. Don't cut your paint. Then you'll be cursing yourself. There we go. And then I'm just going to rub my fingernail along those edges to make sure it's down. Okay, so now I'm going to peel up my transfer, or try to make sure I got everything rubbed. Hopefully I got it rubbed on there well. So I'm going to try to peel up my transfer. Looks like this side is coming up, or staying down pretty good so far. And the reason why I stress having a sharp blade for cutting is because if you don't, and you have a dull blade, it's just going to drag and ruin your transfer. It won't cut through. It'll just kind of drag it and make it stick to itself and wrinkle up. So, okay, so there's that side. After I got my transfer on, I want to use my finger or the palm of my hand and burnish the transfer on really well. Pop any bubbles, smooth out any wrinkles, all that jazz. Make sure it's on there really, really well. And it seems to be. So now I'm going to take my top off. I'm not going to take my top off. I'm going to take the jewelry box's lid off, and I'm going to, go over my edge here and make sure that that part of the transfer that lines up on the top is good and kosher. So we'll go ahead and start to peel that off. Oh, there's a little spot that I didn't get down. You can cut and layer the transfers. So see how I'm overlapping my B graphic there? You can overlap transfers. You just want to rub it really, really well, because sticking transfer to transfer, it's fine, it works. It just can be a little bit more difficult than transferring directly to the paint. So there is our middle piece right there. I think I'm going to go ahead and do... Oh gosh, let's see. Oh, there's my timer. Okay, I only got a few more minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add maybe a couple of the blue periwinkle flowers here, and then maybe one more flower kind of over here, another sunflower, and then I'll hop off here, and that way you can at least see what I'm doing, and then later on I'll do the front, a little bit on the front. But look at these periwinkle flowers here. Aren't those so pretty with the green? And see, there's like a little bit of oranges and the golden in the sunflowers. I just love that purplish blue color. I want to find a little cluster of those flowers that are that purplish blue that I can cut out. And I think I'm going to cut these out here. So see those little guys there? I'm just going to cut those out. And I'm going to use those to bring in, I just want to bring in a little bit more color to my, to this little area here. So I'm just going to plop those right there and apply them just like we did the other transfers. Plop it down there, give it a good rub all over with our wooden stick or transfer tool, whatever floats your boat. And then peel it up. I'm gonna rub it with my finger, make sure all the edges are pressed all the way down, adhered very well, pop bubbles, wrinkles, and see how that adds just a little bit of more color to the top of our box. Just a little accent of that color makes such a huge difference. I'm gonna add one more set of flowers and then I'll hop off. I'm thinking I want to take this big old guy here, and I'm gonna probably plop him somewhere up in this corner maybe. And I don't know, let's see. Maybe just kind of, I don't know, shoot. You guys, yeah, we're just going to plop him right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut him out. And I also want to grab a little bit of these blue flower thingies. They kind of look like blueberries, but they're not. I forget what they're called. We'll call them blueberries for now. So I'm going to figure out where exactly I want to place my big old sunflower guy. And I think I want him right here. Something like that. Maybe back here. I don't know. We'll do it back here. Okay, so just like I did on the other side, I'm just going to wrap it underneath. I'm taking my fingernail and I'm creasing where I want the edge to be. Like I said, use a marker, use a pen, whatever. I'm just creasing it with my fingernail because I'm efficient, and we'll call it efficient. Efficient is my new word for lazy, okay? No, I'm not really lazy. Okay, so that's where we want it to go. we're going to go ahead and line it up from underneath to make sure we got enough space. Get rid of this brush hair that's in there. And let's see, line it up right here. And I'm going to wrap it over the top. Make sure I've got it placed where I want it. And go ahead and start rubbing it down. Man, I was trying not to cover up all my gold leaf. I might have to add a little bit more gold leaf. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I was trying not to cover it all up, but this big old flower kind of took over a lot of it. You can see little peeks of it still out from the back. See, you can see little peeks. That's fine. Just a little bling bling is okay. It's just semi-extra at this point. All right, so I'm taking my little hooky job there, and I'm just going around the bevels of the top. Okay. You can also use your fingernail. That's very efficient. I know fingernails are jewels, not tools to some people, but to me, fingernails are tools, absolutely 100%. But I'm not a girly girl, so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap that bad boy underneath. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to get up under there and rub it on so it sticks up underneath there. It's kind of an awkward little angle, but you know, make it happen. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and start peeling up. Well, make sure I got this really well. Go ahead and start peeling up. Are we sticking? Are we sticking? Are we sticking? Are we sticking? We are sticking. We are in business. We are cooking with fire. All right. And there we go. So now I'm going to burnish with my finger or my palm. Make sure it's down on there really, really nice and good in those grooves of the beveled edge, and voila. So now I'm going to take my blue flowers and I want to put them kind of right there in the corner. In this little corner guy here. Let's do them like that. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to rub it on. Get down in my bevels with my hooky job. Wrap it around underneath. And it might just be easier to use your fingernail in some instances because I'm not exactly left-handed, so there we go. All right, let's see if we got it on there nice and good. Not yet. All right, here we go. Peel it up, boom, boom, boom. And give it a little rub around the edges, pop those bubbles, smooth out them wrinkles, and bing, bang, boom. So that is most likely the top, how it's going to be. I don't think I'm going to add or do anything else to the top. If I were to add or do anything else to the top, I might add just a little tiny bit of the gold leafing to this kind of corner right here, this little L shape. I may do that, may not, I don't know, we'll see. So at this point, if I were done, I could seal my transfer and my leaf with a water-based sealer like clear wax or polyacrylic. I use Dixie Belle Clear Coat in satin, but I've also used wax. Yes, I've used wax on gold leaf. Once it's, you know, cured and you buff it, it's shiny again. And the satin and the gloss finishes will keep your gold leaf shiny and sparkly. The flat, obviously, or matte, not so much. So I would avoid those if you want to keep your sparkle on your gold leaf. But I'm not done, so I'm not going to seal it yet because I got to do the front. Durr, you know. But if I were, I could go ahead and seal it at this point and then put it back together. So that is my little JB with a couple different transfers, one of them being a large floral transfer that we cut down to make it appropriate for a small piece. The labels, we used our Stick and Style stencil roll to do some variegated gold leaf little accents on the top and the front. And that is time for the day. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. And let's see, what do you seal this? Okay, just address what do we seal it with. Yeah, that's why, you know, that's why I don't even worry about my fingernails anymore, because they're tools. I gave up on them being pretty a long time ago. So, okay, I don't see, do you seal the paint before doing the transfer? No, I do not. You can, but you want to make sure your sealer is 100% completely dry, because if it's not 100% completely dry before you add the transfer, it ain't going to stick. But you don't need to. It's an extra step, waste of time in my opinion, to seal it and then transfer it and then seal it again. Yeah, Leslie, I wasn't thinking, I didn't mean to cover up that much of the gold leaf with the transfer. That's why I'm going to add a little bit more. But on the spot, you know, we just do what we got to do. Crystal, I need some furniture transfers. Where can I get them? Their site is out of a lot of them with flowers. So, Crystal, if you have a local retailer, which you can find on the Redesign with Prima website, there's a find a retailer section. If you have a local retailer, you can call them and see if they have the styles that you want. If not, I don't know if you've tried Etsy. When my favorite retailers don't have what I'm looking for, or I haven't been sent, you know, if I need something specific that I don't have, I just go to Etsy. And usually I can find what I want. Okay, so I think that's all the questions I see right off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and log off. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, and hopefully you'll try the Stick and Style with the gold leaf, because it's fun. It's fun, and it creates a nice sparkly, pretty look. So I hope you all have an amazing weekend, coming up weekend. Happy 4th of July, happy Independence Day, happy late Canada Day if you're Canadian. And I'll see you guys next week, next Thursday at noon, right here in Redesign with Prima. Bye.